Welcome to The Infinite Dance. I'm your host, Carrie Arata, Akashic Records reader, psychic sleuth, and spiritual guide. So this is the last episode in season 1. Woohoo! Very, very happy and proud and thankful for all of you for tuning in since February of this year. I'm so appreciative. This has been such a passion project of mine, and I know I've stated it before, it's just given me so much. So I really, really appreciate everybody tuning in, that's been tuning in. And the next season, season 2, will start September 21st. So that's Mabon or the Equinox. So there'll be a little bit of a break here, and I've got lots of exciting interviews and stories, moving in the time of COVID stories. So those will be intermixed in season 2, along with Akashic messages, guided meditations, and things that you've already come to enjoy with this podcast. And so I'm really looking forward to season 2 and having this time to get interviews going and just have a lot of content researched and ready to go. Couple things before we get into the final episode of season 1. Boy, it has been a doozy, continuing, right? With the pandemic. I mean, I feel like we're still under it. Everybody's masked, in a lot of places I'm going into in the area I'm in. And on top of that, we have natural disasters with fires all over Northern California and hurricanes in the southeast. And then, of course, Afghanistan. So I just feel like there's been so much continued turmoil and people in dire straits. When you have your home, your life, your everyday world turned upside down, it's devastating. And to have things taken away and have no control over, how everything is looking moving forward. So I'd like to definitely keep all those that are affected by all of these things in thoughts, and constantly praying and meditating for ease to come. And the fire, it is Monday, August 30th, when I'm recording this, and the fires here in Northern California are still raging, and a lot of South Tahoe has been evacuated, and it did come up over Echo Summit. So we're just crossing our fingers it's not going to keep going, that there'll be some containment. And I could only imagine what the firefighters and first responders are going through right now. So holding all of those folks in so much comfort's coming in, and comfort's really coming in. So to just surround them with comfort as they're helping in the most amazing way possible. One thing I saw that was really cool was Sierra at Tahoe, one of the ski resorts. Turned on their snowmaker, and they were using the snowmaker to fight the flames, and they were having some success. So that was really, really cool to see that, and gave some hope. Anyways, so how do we stand in keep standing in our truth and keep doing the things we need to be doing when so much turmoil is around. I know I have found that sitting in gratitude for certain things every morning, and I have had no shortage of things I'm grateful for, because even though I've been surrounded by smoke for almost 2 months, the fires haven't come. Well, we did have a scare for about overnight, well, maybe 48 hours, but it was contained very quickly. So, every morning I'm trying to stay in that gratitude space so I can be of help and of service. If somebody needs something within all of this, or I can, put my services out there and help. So that's that's a mechanism or a tool I'm using. And this episode is your Akashic messages for September 2021. Archangels Raphael, Ariel, Michael, and Alexandra are all coming to assist. And Michael came again this morning and reminded me it's not just about protection, it's about boundaries. Boundaries were really important, and so in your own personal life, you don't need to maybe necessarily look at I'm needing to protect myself, but I'm setting these boundaries and come from that place when thinking about all your goings on and things in life. So, at work, or with a family member, or with a friend, or whoever. And of course, Raphael's coming to help us with the healing and all the healing that we're going through right now, and continuing to go through. Ariel to help us with our inner and outer environments, having strength, having playfulness, and finding joy. And Archangel Alexandra to remind us we have support. She's there through this new terrain, through this new time. I mean, everything's new for everybody right now. We're really kind of still continuing to find what's the correct path I'm supposed to take, what's the correct way I'm supposed to go. So the first image that came when I asked, okay, what's, these messages that are coming through for September for the collective, was I got an image of a viewfinder. And the image I was receiving was a classic viewfinder. And those classic viewfinders were called the Viewmaster. So if you don't know what these are, it is... it's almost like goggles or binoculars, but it's a little bit bulkier. And instead of looking through them and looking out and seeing far in the distance, you put a reel, and it was this circular piece of paper with negative images. Like, remember when if you do remember this, you used to get pictures and you had the negatives with the pictures, or if you're familiar with photography, there's the negatives. So those were in the reel, and then you put the reel inside a slot on the viewfinder, and then you click to see each picture. Each picture that would come up. And so I'm like, okay, is this, what's going on here? And I think it's important to know that a viewfinder, just in general, in photography, is what the photographer looks through to compose, and in many cases to focus the picture. And that was the big thing that was coming through. It's coming through to help focus. What do you need to focus on? Okay, on heart-based ideologies, and having your focus come from heart space. And what does it look like through that viewfinder, right? Because you're seeing inward. So instead of Think of binoculars where you're looking out. The viewfinder's having a reel, and you're going to decide what's on that reel. You're going to decide what's in those negatives on that reel, and you're going to put those in the viewfinder, and you're going to click. Okay? Look through these with, a pink or green colored lens, maybe. Maybe that helps. Maybe it helps to have this hue, this different tone when you're thinking about how you're viewing your life. And that's, really important to know you choose. You're going to choose it all. Okay? You're going to choose, am I going to continue to suffer with something, and to what extent am I going to continue to suffer with a certain thing that has happened, a trauma, etc. How do you want to feel? Okay, within everything. And this is very Archangel Ariel, how do you dance? Do you sway your hips? Do you add a somersault or a cartwheel? Do you like to spin? Do you like to spin for long periods of time? Are you at the beach? Are your feet in sand? Can you feel sea spray in the air, wisping all around you? How do you dance? So that's important too. That's getting in the body. We're really getting into, and really trying to stay. How are we marrying these ideas of staying connected to source, staying connected to the higher realm and our higher selves, and having things feel good in this body, this dense being that we're in, right? How are you viewing that? How are you feeling that? And I'm going to say too, I apologize. The smoke has really taken a toll on my voice, so I know I'm humming in a lot, and I do apologize. It's just, it's that intense. In the guided meditation that we're going to get into, let me go over actually first before we go into the guided meditation. I did pull some cards. And I pulled from an Oracle Tarot deck called the Voyager Tarot. And I also pulled a couple cards from the Spirit of the Animals deck. And so I'm going to go over those. And I'll also have them on YouTube. And I'll have them on the interwebs. So if you're on Instagram, Ancient Bodyworks, Facebook, The Infinite Dance, and Ancient Bodyworks. So they'll be posted there, so you can have a visual. But with the Voyager Tarot Oracle deck, I chose, or what came out was High Priestess, Stand in Your Truth and Your Power, Sage of Crystals, the Knower, tap into your ancient wisdom. Tap into that you already know. All right, it's there. Get into it. And the cool image of this Sage of Crystals, there's an Einstein on there. This deck is very collagey. So there's lots of different images in the each card, and the back side of it is a DNA strand. So I thought it was really interesting too that I chose this one. Again, that's why I really like this deck a lot too, because it really gets into the core, right? What's the core of what we need to change? And death came, and let go! Exclamation point. Of the attachment. So, okay, death, I know I need to let go of something, right? Something needs to leave. What is it? It's the attachment of suffering. Let go of the attachment of suffering. So, it's hard when people say, or you hear, oh, go ahead and just let it go. All right, I get that. I think it's nice when we start to get specific. What is it that we need to let go of? The past. What is it that we need to let go of from a certain moment that's going to help us on our journey currently? The bottom card, I always like choosing a bottom card, was the Woman of Wands. And Wands, spirit, fire, and it's a sensor, Sensor. What are you sensing? Trust, encouragement, and nurturing came through with this card. In that feminine power, okay, in that feminine spiritual space. In the Spirit of the Animals Oracle deck, I chose 2. And the first one that came out was Elk, and his or hers meaning was nobility. And the one thing that stood out on this card that was written was the ability to conquer challenges is limitless. Your ability to conquer challenges is limitless. There's lots of different paths. And then Sea Otter is happiness, surrender. And then this one really stuck. Your good destiny of love is sure. Your good destiny of love is sure. That's so good. We need to remember this. We need to remember that love is always there. And these beautiful animal spirits come to help guide us and help us remember all of that. So again, those will be posted on the interweb so you could see. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And I'll have everything in the show notes. So I'll have the deck names and the names of the authors of those decks too. So let's get into the DNA activations and guided meditation. So go ahead and get yourself in a nice, comfortable space. Whether you need to be sitting or lying, whatever feels most comfortable. And we're going to go ahead and start with the invocation. It's very important anytime we're connecting to the higher realms that we connect the exact same way. So we ask for guidance from the universal spirit creator, our angels, and our spirit guides to move from soul to subconscious, from subconscious to conscious being to higher self. We request protected conduit to the realm of the highest good, aligned only to light, so that we may raise our frequencies for the good of all beings, and so that we may step back and see and be. In gratitude, humility, grace, and love, we only accept vibrations of 500 or above. So mote it be, or so shall it be. I want you to go ahead and start by taking the deepest breath you have all day into your lower abdominals. Long, long, slow exhale. And let's do 2 more of those. Longest, deepest breath you've taken all day. Long, long, slow exhale. 1 more. Go ahead and really let it out. Release everything out. Maybe you make a little noise, a little sigh. So we are brought to a meadow, and it is full of wildflowers. There's all kinds of flowers around, and they're sporadically placed. It's sunset, and it's a really relaxed sky. So it's not like crazy colors or jagged cloud formations. It's really relaxed skyline. You still see the sun. So the sun is still there as we're going down into sunset. So still very bright out. And this is where you get to ground into the earth. And if you see your feet as you have your bare feet standing in the earth, and you have a cord that reaches to the crystalline core of the earth, and it feels very rooted, but it's actually very weightless. And you feel that crystal connection. And as it comes up, and you feel it come up through the earth, it's meeting with your connection to Source. So you have 100% gold cord at heart chakra, 100% connection to Source, and that meeting of the crystalline core and the connection to Source. Starts to make its way around your toes and feet and ankles, up your calves and shins, up your knees and your legs, up into your lower abdominals, your upper abdominals, your chest, to your arms, your upper arms, your forearms, your hands, your fingers, back up through your arms to your shoulders, your neck, your jaw, your face, and the crown of your head. As you feel this connection to Earth and Source, this energy coming from the realm of the highest good, you feel it too, down into your DNA, down into every cell, activating your truth, your light, your gifts. And I want you to guide this energy to an area of your body that has been giving you a little bit of trouble. So if there's an area where it's been a little achy or a little bit, just something has happened, guide this energy there. And surround it front and back in all the ways. Greet this area that has been giving you a hard time, and you start to tell it a good story. Even if you start with "it's okay, you're gonna be okay," start there. If you have been telling it an unkind story, what's an upgraded story you can now say? And it'll be something you say over and over and over. Your mantra. Let this beautiful story fill your body down to the core of your cells, down to every little cell. start to see this new story and the energy it holds and the beauty it is spiral up from the base of your spine all the way through the chakras. Chakra 2, chakra 3. 2 is solar or is sacral. 3 is solar plexus, your abdominal area. 4 is heart. 5 is throat. 6 is your third eye. 7 is your crown. And the upper chakras that are non-embodied, there's 5 more. You'll see it going about 2 feet above your head. And this truth of yours, this beauty that you possess, water falls out and sprays out, down, after it reaches up for all to know, all those around you to experience your light. This is all heart-based. It's pretty hard to not find something good when something's coming from heart. Let these new energies, these new frequencies fill you up. You deserve it. You deserve to not suffer any longer. And go ahead and take your right hand, put it over a heart space, and put your left hand on top of right. Let's take 4 deep breaths. Grateful to your heart for its capacity to give and receive. And after you're done taking those 4 breaths, start to move your body in any way that feels good or makes sense. And this can be in your mind's eye. We're still in meditation. But if you're swaying, that's okay too. And start to really feel you. Now you move differently with these nice stories. And all the archangels that came at the beginning, and your personal guides, whoever they are. So the archangels that came to help with this one are Michael, Alexandra, Raphael, and Ariel. They're all here as you're dancing or swaying or moving, looking out at the sunset, enjoying. And you bow your head in gratitude. And with hands still at heart space, go ahead and start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. flutter your eyes open and come back to this space and time. So you have so much power to choose how you're going to feel even through the tough. And getting into a meditation like this, with doing this, you can listen to this. This is a recording, so you can hear it over and over. If you find other ones, it's going to help you get back into that space, because we all get thrown this way or that way when we're in it. And that's why if you're not being personally affected or in dire straits, get into this strength space, right? The supportive space, heart space, so that you can be there for our fellow community and neighbors and whatnot. So I hope that will give you some ease during these times. And again, I'll have everything in the show notes. You can connect with me on Instagram or Facebook as Ancient Bodyworks, and YouTube. This podcast is on YouTube, and season 2 again is coming out September 22nd. So Mabon, or the equinox time. I will be going into, or I will be highlighting a lot more interviews with colleagues, authors that I just find absolutely that are doing some amazing work. And I'm so grateful they're sharing space with me here. And then, of course, I'll be going into my own stories, moving in the time of COVID. And if you do go to the Facebook page of Ancient Bodyworks, I did post the first part of moving in the time of COVID. And so there's going to be at least 2 more parts to this first part. So it's been quite a doozy. But if you would like a personal reading, ancientbodyworks.co, and I hope you keep standing in your truth. And a lot of times that involves peeling back layers of a life that's suppressed or diverted us. And when you find that space, keep asking yourselves and each other, may I have this dance?